If you're a DC Comics fan, you'll definitely recognize today's guest. Kausar Mohammed is best known for her role as Dr. Mina Dawin on the hit CW series The Flash. She's also a member of the all-South Asian sketch comedy troupe The Get Brown. But Kausar's talents go beyond performing. She's advocating for equity and inclusion across industries through her company Shift. Today we're learning all about it. This is Advocate Now. Well, Kausar, you're of course known for your role as Dr. Mina Dawin on the popular CW series The Flash. People go crazy for superhero shows and films. So what has it been like joining that whole world?
Yeah, it's been such an amazing and lovely trip. And this Flash just ended their final season too. So I know that was a whole more than a decade long journey of the Flash. And so I came in on season 8, and doing that was really lovely because the team and the whole cast and crew were such a well-oiled machine, and stepping on and being a part of it and bringing the iconic Dr. Mina Dawan to life was a really, really special journey.
You are also a writer and a performer in the all-South Asian sketch comedy troupe The Get Brown. How did you first break into sketch comedy?
Oh my goodness. So I think I was doing sketch comedy without knowing I was doing sketch comedy growing up. It was a lot of, like as a kid, like walking around with, those like mini versions of cameras. And I think one of the first things I shot and worked directed with a friend was like a Ricky Martin Livin' La Vida music video. And so that was the start and the parody of that. So that was the start of it. And I think from there it just grew, but I didn't know what sketch was until I went to UCLA, and they have this amazing sketch team called Spring Sing Company, really well resourced because it was for this big show that they had. And I think after all those years, I was like, wow, like there's a name for this, like sketch exists. I didn't know what SNL was because we didn't really have cable like that growing up. So it was a late discovery, and then once I graduated, started doing the UCB Groundlings thing, and then that was the end of it.
Well, you also created a short film called Syed Family Christmas Eve Game Night. And that was really groundbreaking and important for a lot of people as it centers around a queer Muslim love story. So what does that mean to you to have been able to share that with people?
Oh my goodness. It is one of the most special things to me, I think, that I've been a part of, and am able to continue to be a part of as we continue to develop it. It was also directed by another queer Muslim Pakistani woman, Fazia Mirza, who is brilliant themselves. And the collaboration of that, I think, brought about something really beautiful. The whole team, really, down to the cast and crew, who are also predominantly BIPOC queer folks. And for me, it came really from a place of needing to tangibly see on screen a future for myself and my own partnership, which in a sense it's inspired by, because I also have two older sisters, and it was about, the baby of three sisters. And being able to see that on screen and say, hey, that I'm writing it now and it's going to be on screen, and that could be my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think almost like the manifestation of it to me was really important, and a healing journey.
This is.
Are you white?
No.
And you've talked about the importance of highlighting queer Muslim joy. When people see queer and Muslim people thriving on screen, how do you think that can impact the way that they see themselves?
Absolutely. I think for one, we don't see that. We don't get to see that.
Yeah.
Representations of Muslims are already fairly stark. And so I think with that, it's just such a reminder of like the diaspora is beautiful and amazing, but we don't see them. And then even more so, to see queer Muslims on screen is literally pretty much non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think both of these beautiful communities that I'm a part of and I love so much are historically marginalized on screen. So when we get to see them, in their joy, I think it is revolutionary, and it is defying a lot of stereotypes, and it lets someone know that we are human, which is truly one of the most important things.
Completely. And I want to talk about Shift, which is a consulting group that you created for racial and gender equity. You're doing such amazing work through Shift, but what prompted you to start it?
Shift was started back in 2017. It was a couple years after college. I was working with one of my co-founders right now, Valeen Mojado, on bringing sort of this freshman orientation that was a race, power, privilege 101 to UCLA. And in doing that, the intention, we were, sort of bringing arts activism into racial equity work. And so we were working on that. At the same time, Me Too had just sort of hit the fan. And I remember I was on set one day and I was going to be going to this racial, working on this theater project after, and just looking around and just understanding that like no one had the language to talk about consent. No one had language to talk about gender equity, to talk about how systems of patriarchy and systems of white supremacy play into consent in all those intersections. And so hit up my co-founder Valeen Mojado, and another friend of mine who was doing DEI work at that time with another organization, Natalie Bui. And we were just like, let's do this. Let's make a space where we can talk about consent, talk about racial equity, talk about gender equity and all the intersections, and center the people that it impacts the most, which is the survivors, which is trans folks, which is Black folks and Indigenous folks and disabled folks, and break this down and provide educational tools.
I love that you're really creating change at a foundational level, providing racial and gender workshops and training. What do you hope people take away from those resources that you're providing?
The hope would be the power of the individual on larger institutions, and at the same time, just understanding how everything affects us on an individual level, on a collective level, on an institutional level, and that we hold power within each of these levels.
We are seeing some pretty powerful shifts. Everything Everywhere All at Once took home 7 Oscars with 2 Asian American actors each winning an Oscar. It seems like there's finally more opportunity in general, but have you noticed any of those shifts throughout your own career?
Yeah, I think, well, one, so excited about Everything Everywhere All at Once, so well deserved. And I think a testament to how just more diverse stories are also just very good, regardless of the representation. It's just a good film and movie with a great team on it. And I think within my career, I am grateful for, I want to say, the South Asian, Muslim, queer folks before me, who I feel like have very much paved a path along the way, from the Mindy Kalings to the Cal Penns, who didn't have the choice and had to assimilate to whiteness or straightness to move forward. And so I'm grateful of that progress that's made regardless. And while within my career, I've been excited to see how roles have, gone beyond anything about identity. So for example, I was in a film called Appendage that just had their premiere at South by Southwest, where identity had nothing to do with it. It was solely character, and that's also freeing because it's just like, hey, I just get to exist. So I think in those ways, I'm excited to see that. And shout out to some lovely casting directors who are, all about breaking that down. And at the same time, I think, it's like, okay, in these small ways, I see things changing, but I think I was just reading a report this morning from UCLA about how some patterns are still the same, like films with white male leads, they enjoy, I think, the largest budgets, so it's like, okay, so sure, we're getting to see a little bit more of ourselves, but again, wanting to see sort of money where the mouth is, not only in terms of budgets for diverse stories, but also for marketing behind diverse stories, which is a huge thing in itself. So I am so proud of our communities for, coming up, making roles for each other and for ourselves and space, and to see, other South Asians, Muslims, queer folks in, not only on camera, but behind camera and exec levels. But I want more of it. And I look forward to moments where there's, true importance of budgets and money put behind.
Well, Kausar, we thank you for all the work you're doing with Shift and through all of your projects. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
I'm Sonia Baghdadi. Thanks for watching and advocating. For more stories and content like this, visit advocate.com and advocatechannel.com.